Hey, this is a channeled timeless reading for you when you see it. I'm going to flow with the channel messages that are coming through from my spirit guides, angels, and source for you for your highest good, as well as some channel messages from them that came through ahead of time as well. So I will start the reading by reading the first message that came through for you. They're actually changing up. They're showing me a cricket as I go to start this reading, and I love this message when it comes through, but good luck is on a rise. They're showing... you know how crickets kind of play music, and in certain cartoons they're depicted as playing music in a way, and they're showing you like happily singing a tune or whistling a tune, like you're lucky and you're happy about it, or you got lucky in some way, and probably in a not rated R way, but you're happy about it. And that is one of the first messages, is like that good luck is on the rise, and you're going to be flowing in that energy a bit more, which is really cool. Now might be a good time to try things that have to do with luck and see what happens, I suppose you could say. Like winning certain contests or something like that. Might as well give it a shot. No promises on that, but that's just something I heard. Next, they showed me a kitchen sink for what came through ahead of time. They said, take a step back and really evaluate your situations right now. You don't need to throw everything in the kitchen sink at things to solve things or a certain situation. It's really a message to take a step back and really assess things before you act or throw everything at a problem when there might be a simple solution to something I'm getting. Or there might be something really simple you're missing, but if you take a step back, you'll see it, is something I'm hearing as well to say to you. So taking that step back and really pausing and assessing the situation is really going to help you handle things more gracefully regarding whatever this is, whatever this situation is. It might be something you're freaking out about a little bit, like a job situation, but again, it might have a really simple solution. The next thing they'd like to get to, there's a bit more on the kitchen sink thing as well. You're really being provided solutions by the divine, I suppose, at the time you need it, because I heard like something along that, like it's those lines, like it's in the time you need it. So there are also solutions that are coming in for current problems that maybe you don't see right away, but they just kind of happen, and like certain things are taken care of. Could be part of that good luck message that came through first and foremost as well. So keep that in mind. There are solutions coming you don't see yet regarding certain problems in your life, and the problems might just get resolved, or you'll have easier solutions come in addition to any you might be seeing as you take a step back. And those messages can be really intertwined. The thing you end up seeing as you take a step back is the divine solution that comes in, if that makes sense. Next thing that came through ahead of time, it was just, how sometimes pools will have almost like painted on the walls as like a measure of how deep the pool is, if that makes sense. And there's a nerdier reference. There's a game, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and there's this one part where there's like a pool with like a meter stick, and you're supposed to test how deeply you can dive or something like that. But that's for you all who know that game and that reference. But anyways, they showed something along those lines, and they said it's time to really go deep with something you'd really like to do, instead of just surface level skimming it, or like dipping your toe in the water or barely trying. Like, it's time to really try, really give effort, and really go all in on something, or at least more in, to get better results. And this could be a business. This could be posting on social media to grow an account. It could be, there's a lot of different things it could be. Growing a mailing list, posting on social media to grow a business. It could also be dating and like really giving it a shot. Really, what's the best way to say this? Putting effort into whether you're doing online dating or something else, putting a bit more time and effort into certain things, putting more effort into the dates. It could be, I don't know if that's the exact way to do that, but that's another example they have for how this could show up, or to help you realize what it is for you, if that makes sense. Many of you will probably know right away, but the other thing they like to say about this is, let's see. If you're trying a billion different things right now and nothing's working, it's time to try one or two, is another thing I'm getting right now. Kind of reminds me of the everything in the kitchen sink message in a different angle. They're kind of telling me that's not the direction they want to go with it though. So anything you feel you need to go deep with or give more effort to, and you feel like you're not getting enough results because you're not giving enough effort to it, it's time to try giving it efforts. And even if you fail, at least you tried. And that's going to set you up for success more in the future if you really try and gain that experience and gain the knowledge and wisdom from that experience instead of barely trying and not learning anything, if that makes sense. It's kind of like someone who, as an example, tries to learn guitar for a week and then gives up because it's difficult, instead of really going all in to learn it and like play for the weeks it takes to develop the calluses, and then really trying to learn music theory, really trying to get the right technique down, instead of being like, oh, this kind of hurts and it's hard, never mind. You don't necessarily gain much from that experience if you don't go all in or more in to a certain degree, at least enough in to get results. So next thing they'd like to get to here, they're showing a domino falling over. There might be kind of a cascade of metaphorical dominoes in your life right now that were either like, is it like a domino effect that was already kicked off already, or like you might kick something like that off soon with, it could even be something like you post like on social media or something you end up doing. I feel like it's positive overall. Really what I'm getting might be good for you to do is try to snowball momentum in your life in a certain direction or towards something you'd like to see. An example I'm getting is like losing weight. Like you could start to gain momentum towards losing weight by exercising a consistent amount, each week, like every other day or something like that. And then you build more momentum by, okay, I'm going to eat at least 2 out of 3 meals a day healthy, or hopefully all 3 if you're trying to lose weight, or maybe you have a cheat day depending on what you're doing with all that and the diet. Be careful with that, be regimented with that, but if that's you. But that could be an example of like building momentum towards something. And that could also be its own domino effect in a way. They're redirecting me a little bit. I was going to say it could be its own domino effect in a way if you put momentum towards that. And that happens and you get to a place where you're happier with your body, you're more confident, you're putting yourself out there more, maybe you're more confident in putting yourself out there and dating or asking people out or accepting offers to date or something like that. So it kind of snowballs into the rest of your life as well in a way, or dominoes into the rest of your life. But I feel like it sounds a little bit silly to say as a sentence, but what I'm hearing is if you're making choices to change things or that cause a lot of change, probably positive right now. As long as you kind of know what you're doing with that is what I'm getting. If that makes any sense to you. The other thing I'm hearing is like things are going to be like in a bit of a domino effect for you. So if you're changing one area, it's probably going to change multiple, but that's positive is what I'm getting. The other thing I'm hearing is clarification. Just make sure you're doing things are right and that are moving things in the direction you'd like to go, or at least try that. And that's going to be a good start. But the other thing I'm hearing is like it is also just kind of happening. Like it could be like one area is changing, then another area is changing, then another area is changing in life. And you might feel like it's happening more to you. But the divine is doing that. And that's going to lead to positive things as well. So whatever camp you're in, or maybe both, if there's like a bit of a bit of both going on, that's going to go well. Next, they showed me a giraffe ahead of time. They said, okay, this was like about how giraffes kind of stand taller than other animals, obviously, most other animals. And they gave the phrase ahead over the competition. So if you keep practicing your skills, you are going to be further and further ahead of other people in a certain area, at least. It's okay to have an unfair advantage like this. It's okay to be better at something than someone else. I'm not saying you're egoically better than someone, but better at someone than a skill. If you're meant to have a skill and be good at something, you're going to be, and that's not a fault on you. Don't beat up on yourself. If people don't like you for you being good at something, that's their issue, and you probably wouldn't want them as a friend anyways. And your real friends will probably work on themselves if they see something like that coming up and be able to handle you being good at something and shining. The last thing I would like to do with this is discourage you from working on your skills and getting to a really good high level place with things by saying, this message about some people maybe not liking it. It's really on them. That's their stuff. And the reason I also kind of brought through, one of the reasons they brought through this message about that kind of being their issue, and you probably wouldn't want to be friends with them, is it also really struck me. They showed me that if those people kind of have those issues and they're not people who are working on that or who are willing to do the work to shift that or transform that, or at least be able to hold that while they're working through it, so they're not doing anything rash with that, you probably don't want that around you. It's something that might end up sabotaging you in some way, if that makes sense. Not that they will, not that that can necessarily stop you. It may or may not slow you down if that happens, but don't slow yourself down for other people is really what I'm trying to say, especially if you don't have to, or it doesn't really make sense with what you're getting intuitively to do, or what your spirit guides are telling you to do. But this is also really good news, because you're going to be doing really well if you keep practicing your skills, honing in your skills, working on yourself in these things. So that's really cool. Next thing they said, they showed me an elephant, and it was just a quick message about obstacles being removed. They're also showing me a woolly mammoth as I say that and bring that through. And there is kind of like an ancient past healing as well regarding success, regarding things that have maybe held you back from success in certain areas, or even just one area. I feel like that's like cleared though. That's part of the obstacle removal actually, is this healing that's taking place. So I feel like you're about to rocket forward with something, or at least be able to put the effort into something that has been difficult to put the effort in, is what I'm hearing. So that's cool. The next message they have for you, the last one I have for you ahead of time, that was channeled through ahead of time, they showed me the concept of skinny dipping. So the message is, even if you feel exposed, whether it's like posting on social media or doing something you need to do, putting yourself out there, like do it anyway. Like it's going to help you and people will like it, is what I heard, if you need to hear that. And sometimes and I'm not talking about this literally, like and I'm no judgment either way actually either on this, but I'm not talking literally about like with skin, but sometimes being exposed or feeling a little bit exposed like can be a good thing if you're like vulnerable in the right ways with an audience or with someone in your life, like a partner or a loved one. That can really go well and help you to build trust and connection and authenticity with people. However, the other side of this is like, if you're afraid to put yourself out there, for instance, like on social media or in a certain way, it's possible like you might not go anywhere with that thing. Like if you would like to build a social media following, you have to eventually take the risk of putting yourself out there in some way, shape, or form, and take that quote unquote risk of being seen or heard in some way, whether you're showing your face or just putting words out there, not just words, but putting your message out there. You kind of have to take that risk to get to where you'd like to go in that realm. Same with getting a job. You have to put yourself out there applying for jobs. Same with dating to a certain degree. You have to put yourself out there enough to either ask someone out, put yourself out there as dating online, for instance, through online dating. You have to risk it enough to accept invitations to go out on dates, as well. And maybe even risk the exposure of someone getting to know you, if that makes sense. So the other message I'm hearing with this is you're a lot better than you realize at something, or perhaps you're a lot better as a person than you realize. For those of you who don't feel like this is about like a thing, or like doing a thing, and becoming exposed to the right amount is going to show people that you're good at this thing. So if you're doing music on social media, exposing people to your music, or being a little bit vulnerable by putting yourself out there, putting your music out there, that's how you're going to let people know that you're good at this thing, So same with dating. If you're an amazing person, people are going to see you're an amazing person as you put yourself out there and you're vulnerable. As long as they have a good head on their shoulders and they're paying attention and they're aware and able to see that. Most people will be. So that's something. They're showing me black tourmaline next, as well as hematite, as well as like a red crystal, like a ruby. Corundum, like a raw ruby. I guess there's like a cut ruby here too in my intuitive visuals. There's a sapphire. So let me see what this message is about with these crystals showing up here. So perhaps except for the sapphire, these are all crystals that help with the root chakra, but they're also tying it into the lower 3 chakras. And they're giving this recommendation of manifesting stability regarding these 3 areas, so the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, and the areas of life or that are correlated with those chakras. There was a channeled guided meditation. I believe it's part of the orange package, that's a bunch of channeled MP3s that are meant to help with the sacral chakra. But I remember one of the messages that came through when I was re-listening to it before I launched that was something along the lines of like, if you manifest abundance in the areas of life correlated with those 3 chakras, you'd have a really strong, like stable foundation for like abundance in the rest of your life. And it would really set you up well in the rest of your life as well for abundance and even stability, just because of the things that those 3 chakras are correlated with. So that might be an idea, is manifesting stability for those areas of life correlated with those chakras, maybe for those chakras themselves if you feel called to. But it's what I'm hearing for this regarding that specific message is more about the areas of life around them. They're saying there is no more for this reading that they have to bring through. Maybe sometimes they have like last second messages that they're like, and they get like hit with the avalanche of channeled messages. But I hope that was helpful, resonated, do whatever was for your highest good. I am wishing you well, and I will see you on another post.